Yes, mates, how's it going? My name's Lee, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to cover my team selection for Game Week 3 and highlight a few transfers as we work our way through the team. So stick around to see if I think you should bring in the likes of Alvarez, Jackson, Wissa, or some other potential transfers. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Just a little click down below. Anyway, let's rock and roll.
Be strong.
Right, so first up on the left hand side, you can see some information. I've gone slightly up in rank to 2.9 million. I'm not concerned about my rank at all till about game week 10, game week 15, around that time. My team value is 100.5 million. Got 0.4 left in the bank, and I've got one free transfer. I've made one transfer so far, a little bit premature, but I felt like I had to do it. So first up, we've got Pickford in goal. I've kept Turner on the bench. Pickford has obviously got the better game. Wolves at home is expected to score 4 points in this game. You can see his points on the right hand side. His expected points for the next 5 games. 4.5 million goalkeeper, owned by 13.3%. I'm not too happy with my goalkeepers, but there's not a lot I can do right now, and I don't really want to make a goalkeeper transfer, especially when I'm maybe thinking of wildcarding around game week 6, game week 7. I think I can hang on until then because they have got some decent fixtures in there, and Turner can come in and cover for a couple of those games anyway. I'm still hoping Dyche can rediscover his defensive form and they can start keeping some clean sheets. Thought Wolves played pretty well up against my boys, up against United, and I think they might cause Everton some problems. Not optimistic of a clean sheet at all, but it's one of those, is the best of the goalkeepers I've got, and we just need to kind of roll through it and kind of see what he can do. My first defender is Estupinan, and he's got West Ham at home. He's got something like 18 points. He's not kept a clean sheet yet. He's just an absolute attacking machine, and I think he'll continue that up against West Ham. You can see in game week 4 and game week 5, he's got Newcastle and Man United, but he's still got a couple of good games after that. So after this game, I've got the likes of Udogia or Colwill to come in and substitute for Estupinan. So I'm not looking to transfer out Estupinan at all. I still think he's a great pick. I think he's a good pick up against West Ham, and if you've got him, I think you need to play him right now. He's in great form, and I could bring in the likes of Colwill or Udogia, but I just like Estupinan's attacking threat more. I feel like he's got a much higher ceiling, and I think he'll continue that moving forward. He's expected to get 4.6 points up against West Ham, and he's usually expected to do pretty well in most games, to be fair to him. Just an absolute beast, owned by 62% of the game. I mean, there's no point talking about him. He's just cheat code. He's one of the best value players in the game. And if you don't have him right now, I probably wouldn't bring him in. I'd probably be looking at his next set of fixtures, maybe starting with Bournemouth in game week 6, and maybe that could be a good entry point for anyone who doesn't have him. But right now, if you don't have him, I wouldn't think about bringing him in, especially with Newcastle and Man United in the next 3. Another very easy pick, Chilwell next, at home to Luton. And same again, I could easily play Colwill in my defence, but he's just such a good backup option, Colwill, that I think I'm going to keep on the bench. I think he's going to be a man who's either 1, 2 or 6 point player. Doesn't get involved in the attacking third as much, but Chilwell bombs forward. He's almost like a left forward, like a left winger. Great run of fixtures, like everyone knows, Chelsea have got a great run of games. Currently priced at 5.7. He's gone up by a couple, and by 0.2 mil. Owned by a quarter of the game so far, which is just criminal, because if this guy gets going, he's just an absolute machine. This is the reason why I started him. This is the reason why, and this is the point where he's going to start playing him, and this is where he's going to start bringing some points in. And if you haven't got him, I'd seriously consider about bringing someone like Chilwell in. If you haven't got any Chelsea coverage at all, I think you might be in danger over the next couple of weeks, because I think they'll cause some damage against these teams: Luton, Forest, Bournemouth, Fulham. Those 4 teams in the next 5 is expected to hit like an average of about 4.5 points a game, like in those next 5. So if you haven't got him, I'd seriously consider thinking about bringing him in either this week or next week, because he's such a great player and he will score points. So I'm sticking with 3 at the back, and I'm currently on Saliba. They've got Fulham at home, and I'm just not impressed with Fulham at all. I think they look a bit toothless up front. They don't like they can score a goal, and that's the reason why I've gone Saliba, because Arsenal pass the ball so well, and Saliba does rack up a lot of passes that is he usually does pretty well on bonus points, and that's the only reason why I've gone for him. I think he's got a higher ceiling than the likes of Colwill. I think Udogie is a good pick, but I think Bournemouth are going to score in that game. Bournemouth are a better team than people think, and I think they will cause Spurs some problems at that end of the pitch. But Saliba is gone up by 0.2 mil. He's currently valued at 5.2 and owned by about a quarter of the game. They have still got some decent fixtures. They've got Fulham, Everton and Bournemouth. in the next 5, but obviously they've got Man United and Spurs in those as well. Is you expect to do pretty well in terms of points, and I think Arsenal will continue to pick up clean sheets, and they will expect. I do expect Saliba to be involved in some attacking play, although like he's a defender, he doesn't get involved in goal scoring as much as someone like a Gabriel, and it's baffling that Gabriel has been dropped. But I think with a couple of injuries to Arsenal, I expect Gabriel to start playing a little bit more. But Saliba, a great option, great pick. But that could easily be Colwill, and that might change from now until the deadline. So in terms of defensive transfers, the only players I'm really looking at from Man City, and it's trying to narrow down that Man City defender, the only one that's really jumping out to me is someone like a Ruben Diaz. I am tempted to go from someone like a Saliba up to a Ruben Diaz. I've got just enough money to make that move, and because of Man City's great fixtures, it seems like a great investment for the long term. I can see as Dean and might be in the mainstay in that defensive back line. I think he'll play majority of the games, and he does chip in with the odd goal here and there as well. So if there was any defensive transfers I am thinking about making, it would be a Man City defender. If you want to take a chance on someone like a Walker or an Ake or a Gvardiol, that's entirely up to you. I just think Ruben Diaz is the best Man City defender, and he's the most nailed on Man City defender. Therefore, I think he's the best pick. And it all kind of comes down to that. But the only way I can get to him is by transferring out Saliba and going up to Ruben Diaz. I don't want to take out a stupid hand. I just don't see the point when I'm going to want him back in a couple of weeks' time. Where Saliba, I could see myself not having him for that run of games. Like, even though they have got some decent fixtures, I just think Man City's fixtures are better over those 5 games. And that's the reason why I might go for someone like a Ruben Diaz. My first midfielder is Marcus Rashford, and I just hate him as a number 9. It's so frustrating to watch him. He's clearly a left winger, but like when he plays a number 9, he just looks so disinterested. Like he's so out of the game. But this is just the way we play. Like we've never involved our number 9 for the past few years. Like I watch Goldbridge a lot, and he calls it the graveyard shift because it is. It's just a mess. Like we don't supply the number 9 with enough chances. Like unless you've got someone like a Cristiano Ronaldo who sucks in all the XG and all those chances, Marcus Rashford doesn't have that authority. Like even though he's a great player, he's not a legend like Ronaldo, so he doesn't suck in all those chances. I can't wait for him to move out onto the left wing. He's an easy hold for me. I see a lot of people selling him. I can understand why. You might want to improve your team elsewhere. You might want to bring in someone like a Raheem Sterling. You might want to drop down someone like an Mbeumo or an Eze, or I see people looking at Matoma, but not for me right now. Like if Maddison's fit, I could see people going from Rashford down to Maddison. It's not really something I'm considering right now, but Rashford's just an easy hold for me. Like we saw last season when people started selling him, that's when he started racking up the points. Even games against Arsenal and Brighton, which is 2 of his next 5, I can see him returning in those games. I think we're a bit better without the ball. We're a bit better on the counter-attack. And I think we'll struggle against Forest up again this game week. I don't see Rashford scoring a goal. I don't see him getting involved. He is a long-term pick for me. Someone like Colwill or Adoji could easily come in and replace Rashford, but it's just so difficult for me. I've got a slight bias. I'm obviously a Man United fan, so I've got that bias going on. And it's just hard for me to drop my boy. He's playing up against Forest at home. I hope we smash him. I hope Rashford's involved. I'm not confident, to be honest with you. I can understand why you'd want to sell, but for me, it's an easy hold. Transfer number 1. I've got a little bit premature on this one, and it's purely down to price rises and price falls. I had Eze, and I wish I kept Eze. I don't like this transfer at all. I don't think Mbeumo is a good pick. If you don't have him, I wouldn't go for him. Just Mbeumo was going up to 6.7, and Eze was dropping to 6.4. So I would have effectively lost 0.2. But to be fair to Mbeumo, he's got a great run of fixtures. He is on pens. He does get involved in the game. He does score goals, but he's got 2 penalties in the last 2 games, and he scored a tap-in. Like it's not great overall goal-scoring threat. He's not getting that many shots away. I mean, I think he scored 3 goals in about 5 shots. You know, he's not getting a lot of chances away. I still don't really like him as a pick, and I kind of wish I'd kept Eze, to be honest with you. I think I could have lived one more week with Eze. And even if Mbeumo outscores Eze, I could have dealt with that. Like I could have lived with that. It's a tough one. I don't like it, and I wish I could reverse it, but it's one of those. And I am tempted to get Eze back in a couple of weeks, so maybe that's why I should have stuck with him. But other than that, Brentford are a good side. We saw that over the past couple of games. Like I said, they've still got a great run of fixtures, and I still think Mbeumo will be involved. He just won't score a goal a game. He's not going to score 38 goals over the course of the season. Like he's going to get about 10, and he's already got 3. So make of that what you will. And if you haven't got him, my advice is don't bring him in. I'd just wait it out. Like, he's not going to keep returning over the long period of time, and we will get the old Mbeumo back of hitting the post, missing easy chances, and missing high XG chances, because this is the standoff player that Mbeumo is. All due respect to him. My next midfielder is Phil Foden, and this is the reason why I brought him in. This is the reason why I started him, because I know when he plays, he gets points. I still wish I'd started with Maddison, and I could have easily moved to someone like a Phil Foden, especially with this run. But currently, they're both on the same amount of points. Foden is just going to rip it up over the next 4 or 5, especially if he starts getting 75, 85-ish minutes over the course of the game. I mean, games are like 100 minutes now, but if he gets that type of minutes, he will score points. I just hope he starts pushing a bit more forward and getting closer to the goal and getting more shots away. Definitely looks like the main creator of the team and less of a goal scorer. But what you can see over the next 5 is expected to get a minimum of 5.2 points per game. So he's just going to absolutely smash it. They've got a great run, and this is the reason why I'm looking at someone like a Ruben Diaz in defence. Because those fixtures are just so good, and I want a part of that pie. I want a piece of that pie. If you haven't got someone like Foden, I'd maybe start thinking about bringing him in. If you've got Maddison, I think it's a nice, easy transfer to go to Foden, because it's looking like Maddison is going to be out for the next few weeks, and Foden is like I said, like, he's a great player, and if he plays and he gets the minutes, which it looks like he's going to, he will score points. I can guarantee you that. So if you haven't got if you haven't got him, I'd start maybe thinking about how you can get him in, because if he starts racking up minutes, it's game over, mate. Saka, I don't know what to do with him. He's not on pens anymore. That's a huge loss as a Saka owner. It's not quite enough for me to sell, but I am considering selling him. Maybe not this week, but I might start selling him over. Like, I might start thinking about selling him over the next couple of weeks. I really need to think about this one. It's currently valued at 8.6. If he does go to 8.7 and he does go up, I think I'd cash in and sell him. Owned by a huge amount of the game, in 66.4%. I was convinced he was going to be on penalties, and I don't understand why Odegaard has taken it. I think Saka is a decent penalty taker, so I'm just very surprised that he's taken it, and he's taken a lot of high pressure penalties as well. So I'm really surprised that he's not on pens, and that massively devalues his quality and his attractiveness as an FPL option. Like, if you look at his stats last season, like he racked up a lot of XG because he was on penalties. Take that away, and although he does tick along nicely, he's not capable of those explosive hauls, and without those set pieces, and without them, I do need to start thinking about selling him. And next week, I might even go back to Eze. I might go Saka down to Eze, and I've got all this money. So, but it would be a very hard sell, and it's a tough sell because they've still got great fixtures, like I was mentioning about Saliba. Like, they've still got Fulham, Everton, and Bournemouth in the next 5. So, if you are going to sell him, do keep in mind that they have still got good fixtures, and he will still tick along nicely, and he will still rack up points. But without penalties, he just loses a bit of appeal for me. How did Bruno not get any points against Spurs? It's just baffling. Like, he racked up very, very good goal involvement. He's the only player in our team that looks like he's going to do anything at all. See a lot of people selling him. Just be wary that Bruno will haul at some point, and you don't want to sell him when he's playing Forest next, because it's looking like Mason Mount's injured, which will allow Bruno to push further up to Rashford. If he gets in and around in the box and starts creating chances and getting shots away, he will start getting involved in the goals. Just bear in mind, if you are selling him and you are thinking about selling him, I think now is a bad time. Even with Arsenal and Brighton coming up, I still think he's capable of scoring goals against them. He's on penalties. He's on set pieces. He's a beast. He's our best player by an absolute country mile. Everything goes through him. He's so pivotal to our play. And his 50p header that he missed against Spurs, I've never seen him miss a chance like that before. Like Bruno last season would have absolutely buried it. Like, he's actually not bad in the air. Like, you've seen him score a couple of decent headers. Like, I'm surprised he missed that. So against Forest, he's expected to score 6.4 points. And even against some of the other teams, like even against Arsenal, he's still expected to score 5.2 points, even in that tough away fixture to Arsenal. Tough sell, mate. Like if you are thinking about selling him, just maybe think about it and give yourself an extra day to think about it, because it's not a good decision in my opinion, especially with Forest coming up and even Burnley and Palace in the next 5. Just think about it, and like whatever you do is what it is, isn't it? Ollie Watkins, another very frustrating player. He's got 2 assists in 2 games. He's got a hat-trick in the Europa League last night against Hibs. He's got Burnley away and Palace at home in his next in his X5, but then he's got some really tough games within that. He is maybe someone I am thinking about selling. Maybe someone like a Nicholas Jackson or a Wissa or an Alvarez. I don't like Alvarez as much, and if I was going to rank them, I'd probably go Wissa, Jackson, Alvarez. There are still a couple other options out there as well. I don't mind someone like a Morris, who's got a great run of fixtures coming up, who's valued at 5.5. I don't mind João Pedro again now, because it's looking like Enciso's going to be injured, and I do think he's going to start the majority of games. Obviously, Brighton have got those tough couple games in the middle, so he's probably bottom of the list. But there are a couple more options out there than people realise. But I do quite like Ollie Watkins for the next three. Even Liverpool away, I think Villa have a very good counter-attacking team, and he's such a team player that I think he will still tick along nicely. Like, you've got the likes of Leon Bailey and Diaby, and the problem that they've got is, like I heard someone else mention it, I think it was the Above Average FPL podcast, they all want to score goals, and they're not all great creators and providers of goals. They're all greedy, they all want to get shots away, they all want to score them goals themselves. I think they need a creator in there, and like the likes of and it's a shame for Buendia, but like he would have been great for them this season. I think he would have racked up so many chances for them and created so many assists and chances for them moving forward. But real shame. I have got Archer on the bench, who looks like he's going to complete his move to Sheffield United. Same again, this is the reason why I started with him. I'm not entirely convinced he's going to be starting every single game for Sheffield United. Like, they did spend quite a lot of money on him, but they're pretty stacked in that position. But they do play with two up front, so he will get minutes, and whether he plays full 90s, I don't think he will. He'll either start and play about 60, 65, or he'll come off the bench for the last 30. I can see that being a lot of his season. I don't see him completing a lot of 90 minutes. He scored 11 goals in 20 appearances in the Championship last season. So like, we do know, like, he's got a decent pedigree of scoring goals, and I think he will score goals for Sheffield United, and he will tick along over the course of the season. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to pick him, but I do quite like having the option of a 4.5 million forward actually playing with a potential of scoring some points. So that's the reason why I went for him initially, and I'm so glad that it looks like it's going to go through. But I don't see him as an option this week. I still see Watkins as the better option, and I can see why people are selling him someone like a Jackson. I don't like Jackson as much as other people. I still think Chelsea are going to sign a number 9. I don't think Jackson is the long-term solution. I've not seen enough from someone like a Nicholas Jackson to confidently say he's going to score points over the course of the season. But you kind of got to play the fixtures sometimes. Chelsea have got a great run. Sometimes you've just got to be like, they're good fixtures. I'm going to go with the number 9 for the team that's got good fixtures and just see what happens. Might be worth the risk. For me, I don't think it's something I'm going to go for. I would much prefer to go for a Wissa or take a chance on someone like an Alvarez. That's my personal opinion. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Are you thinking about bringing in someone like a Jackson? And then obviously we've got Haaland, and he's obviously captain against a very poor Sheffield United team. Vice captain is Rashford. I'm going to take a chance on him, but I see Haaland playing. I see Haaland starting. I see him playing probably 75 minutes, and I think I'll rip him apart. I think I'll score a couple of goals. Everyone's going to captain him. He's going to be massively owned and continue his robotic form. Right, mates, that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. So today went for my team selection for Game Week 3 and highlighted a few players as we worked through of potential transfers in and transfers out, and I'm trying to get across my thought process, and I'm trying to build towards the longer term team, like looking at the likes of Game Week 5, Game Week 6, and I'm trying to rank players in my head of who might be better over that period. I'm looking at the likes of Nicholas Jackson, Wissa. I'm thinking about going back to Eze or Ruben Diaz in defence. Like, they're all potential options, and I need to start thinking about the longer term and see what I can do to try and minimise the amount of transfers, ins and outs. If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe, leave a like and leave a comment down below. Anyway, peace and love. Have a good day.